We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody! This is Matt Monarch with Angela Stokes Monarch and the pointing pretty princess Araya Berry Monarch
In pink. Pretty in pink. She likes to point at everything now.
telling us where to go, stuff like that. See, she says it! She says it! It's my baby girl! And today, ladies and gentlemen, the information that I'm going to share with you today is how to heal children instantly. And I feel sorry for any of those who don't grasp this concept today, because
Do you want some healing, Araya? Are you coughing?
it can make the total difference in your children's future. Okay. How many times have you had a beautiful child who gets sick? And what do? Us as parents, we want to do as much as we possibly can. And we get a little scared. And most people are scared and they bring their child to the hospital and they end up on medicine and pharmaceutical drugs and stuff. Others who have a more natural lifestyle, they might try to feed their child colloidal silver or ginseng or some other natural remedy that can hopefully heal them. But inevitably, when a child has the flu or something like that, those natural remedies don't necessarily work, and they end up at the hospital anyways. Think about the concept. When a child or anybody is sick, what is actually happening? The truth of the matter is, the body is purging toxins. That's what this mucus coming out of your nose is. And so the concept of taking a supplement the body's purging toxicity. Now, how is a supplement like colloidal silver going to stop this purging? Is it like a chemical reaction where the two merge and it disappears the mucus or something? No, we need to get rid of the toxicity. What if I told you that giving your child an enema can instantly heal them? Well, in a video in the past, I actually told a story about some of our neighbors whose child was bedridden with a headache and couldn't get out of bed. And so they came up to me asking for things like ginseng and other stuff like that, or colloidal silver. I'm just like, I knew something was up. I'm like, I don't know, like, you can do this, but it's not what the answer, in my opinion. If you were to give the child an enema, it would probably most likely take care of the situation. And they're like, ugh, they don't like to do that sort of thing. I'm like, okay, whatever, I just let it be. I was hanging out with the dad for 20 minutes after that conversation, and all of a sudden the little child comes running out like nothing. And I'm like, what happened? And he was like, what happened? She went inside and gave him an enema. This hard lump stuff came out, and it was crazy. And he was healed instantly. Instantly. And then, after that, people started doing this with their children. And I got loads and loads of testimonials of children having instantaneous results. And I just wrote an article on this, and I gave like 5 testimonials. And since I wrote this article, more have poured in. For example, this woman on Facebook writes, because I shared it on Facebook, done it, worked for us as well, enemas for children, and just more and more people are agreeing. Okay. Okay. So, common sense. It is common sense. Like, millions and millions of people understand that enemas heal. And it is so common sense that, I mean, it's been taken away from us because the hospitals don't want us to heal naturally. They want our money, and then we want to dumb down the human population by giving them medicine and making everybody more toxic and stuff like this. What's happening is sickness, when we're purging, we've built up a load of toxins, and the body is trying to get rid of them. And so what most people do is go to the hospital, suppress it by taking poisonous drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, and then we continue our process, and we didn't get rid of the stuff, we just added to it, and then we get sick again, and we do this process, and by the time we're 40, we're just filled with toxicity. Now imagine if you, from the very beginning, never went and took the pharmaceutical drugs, and instead, you cleansed your colon and got rid of the stuff. Your child has this opportunity. Okay, so the common sense aspect, and then I want Angela to say a couple things here. No? The common sense. In the past, enemas were used for the first method of healing before the pharmaceutical industry came. It is just common sense. It's like breastfeeding is common sense, but it's becoming foreign to everybody because people are being brainwashed into formula feeding. So both are common sense, and here's just an example of a video of a normal woman, a normal child, in a normal family who was taught the basic enema and how. So check out this video of this child giving its stuffed bear's enema. She's educated, and obviously she knows it works. Check it out. I'm angry.
Okay. You know what? Push, big, push. Let people tell. Clean. The eye's done. That's big, and then the water back. Oh, better. And again, Mom.
Toilet paper? He didn't wipe his butt. You gotta tell him to push too. Push, push.
Oh, better.
It's so blatantly obvious, and I think we're going to read some testimonials for you. But first, another example real quick. Another one of our neighbors had, what was wrong with her tooth?
Root canal infection.
She tried to fast, she did all these other things, and nothing was working. We told her to do enemas. Immediately, her root canal was gone. Issue. It was infected. colloidal silver is not going to reduce the infection. Like, okay. Gila, the other day, a friend of ours came over. Maybe you can share with what they were saying.
Yes, a dear friend of ours came over who is in her 60s, and she was telling us that when she was growing up, every household, everybody she knew had a bulb enema. And that's the first thing that they used whenever a child was ill. So she and her siblings growing up, it was just obvious. That's what you did. That's what her mum would do in the first instance. Every single time the child was ill, didn't matter what it was, a stomachache, constipation, diarrhea, headache, coughing, whatever it is, that she said they would call it a pear, like a little bulb enema would come out. They would get an enema and then they would be better again. And she said, it wasn't just her family. It wasn't that she was some unusual family. It was everybody who she knew. That's immediately what you did. And it was the same with the doctors. As soon as you went to the doctor with a child or an adult or anyone who was ill, the first thing that would happen was an enema. And she said, in her family, even recently, when her mother was very elderly and was about ready to pass over, the doctor and the nurses were giving her mother enemas. So, in some areas, the information and the knowledge and the willingness is still there. And it was just so interesting to hear that, for her growing up, that was just completely obvious. That's, of course, what you do. Like, what else would you do?
So, let's read these testimonials real quick. All right, everybody, maybe Gila could read these off.
Okay. Hey, Matt. We did the enema last night, and my daughter was on the toilet for about 30 minutes. She was laying around for 3 days prior, sleeping mostly, waking up every once in a while, whimpering, vomited about 7 times over the past 3 days, had very little appetite but drank a lot of water and a couple of green smoothies. I left last night after the enema, we did 2 in a row. She was sitting up last night rather than laying around and had a bit of food and more water. This morning I got a text from her mum saying, Maisie is totally perfect, it seems, I'm so happy. Had we listened to everyone else, we could have been sitting in the emergency room last night waiting to see a doctor. Thanks, ma'am. Hello, Angela. I'm new to enemas. Did it on me for a while. Our daughter was very ill with cough, bronchitis, God knows what, for weeks and all last fall. We just gave her an enema, instant relief. What do I tell you? She was so happy and her symptoms have all disappeared. Our 13-month-old foster son has been found to be anemic and they want to pump him up with iron and put him on infant formula. We've been doing a raw vegan diet for him for the last few weeks and he seemed to us to be getting better. I'm wondering about enemas. I did one on him when he had a fever and in no time he was better, so I'm a firm believer in them. I'm curious though, how often is safe to do them for him and how much of what liquid is best for him? I used the water from soaked fenugreek the first time. Kids and enemas. Hi Angela, when we got up this morning my little girl threw up and was complaining of tummy ache and generally was lolling around like a wet lettuce. I introduced the idea to my partner that the quickest way to move through the situation would be to give her an enema. I used the video where you and Matt talked about doing the same for a friend's child to convince them both that it was worth a try. I did not force it upon her, but did implore her to at least try it once to see what the results were. She allowed me to do it. It was very simple and straightforward, releasing some hard lumps easily. And 10 minutes later, she was renewed with zing and sitting down to breakfast. I'm not sure if it was on another of your shows or somebody else's that I heard of showing more videos of children talking about how doing this simple procedure helped them. My daughter would very much like to see examples of this to reassure her that it's an okay thing to do for your health, and there are other children who happily use it when they are not feeling good. I've tried looking for videos but have not come up with anything as yet. Could you recommend or direct me to someone else who could? Just got to get my partner to try it next.
Well, that last clip we just showed you of the girl giving her bears enemas, that might be able to help. You could show her that. And let's get back to the TV show. So healing with enemas is real, everybody. And as adults, we've built up a lot of toxicity. So enemas we have a lot more work to do. And with kids, it's much easier because they haven't built up all these toxins, and that's why they heal so quick. And lastly, everyone's always asking Angela, what did you feed Araya? Like, what do you feed her all the time? And the answer is, she eats whatever she eats.
Plus, she mostly still drinks breast milk.
Right. And so we don't really need to worry about her eating processed foods. And so the child eats whatever we eat, so we have a responsibility for our children to not eat processed foods and only whole foods. The processed foods is what builds up toxicity, and your child's going to get sick more, and you're going to get sick more. And that's that. Enemas are real, everybody. This is Araya Berry Monarch. And Matt Monarch. And lastly, with the Raw Food World, I always do that. I'm messing up all the time. And we'll see you next time at the Raw Food World TV show. Look at that face. What's she eating now? Oh, mommy's lunch.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.